Bushcraft 412. And I want to do another food storage tip for you guys. And this one's about canned goods. A lot of people avoid canned goods in their preps and they stick to only dry foods. And I don't necessarily recommend that. I recommend that you have, literally a good portfolio of stored foods. In that, in my personal preps, I have some dry food. I have some rice, beans, some powdered, flour, baking soda, things like that stored, dry stuff. I have some canned goods, which I rotate, pretty regularly. And then I have, some like Mountain House and MREs and things like that I keep as well. And so that way I feel like I have some nice portable food in the MREs. I got some good long-term stored food in the dry stuff. And then I just got some run-of-the-mill stuff, with the canned goods. So I feel like I have a good portfolio of stored foods. And keeping it split up like that helps me rotate my stocks, which is a big advantage to me because I've been storing food for about 10 years now, so rotation does become a big deal after that long. Now, let's get into this. Canned goods typically have a best by date on them. Some foods have a use by date, like dairy products, which means you should use them by that date or else they're going to become unsafe. There's some things that have sell by dates, which the manufacturer recommends they're sold by that date because that's when they're going to be, at their best quality. After that, they're not going to, guarantee it's going to be perfect. And then there's best by dates, which pretty much say, if you want this product to be 100%, use it by this date. Now, of course, best by dates are very flexible. They are kind of a recommendation. And generally, with a lot of foods, you can almost double the best by date in regards to safety. Because what tastes the best versus what's safe are two very different things. And guys, when you're storing cans and using cans and things like that, use common sense. If a can doesn't look right, if it's dented, if it's bulging, the food smells funny, don't eat it. Botulism can kill you. Don't mess around with it. A can of food is not worth your life. So when you're storing food and rotating it, always err on the side of safety. A 60-cent can of beans is not worth your life. Make sure your cans are stored nice, clean, dry place. If they get rusty or bulgy or anything like that, chuck them. But when you open the food, generally look at it. Does it look right? Does it smell right? And generally, as long as they look and smell good, they're going to be relatively safe to eat. These cans are generally sterilized before they're, packed, so they are, for the most part, safe. And that best by date is a guideline for quality, not for safety. So with that said, let's look at the different kinds of foods and kind of the shelf life you get out of them. Here's a can of just no salt corn, which I tend to use a lot in my regular eating because of the no salt. A lot better for you than eating the cans loaded with salt. Expiration date on this is 2013. So this has got about a year. Now that's for the best by. For it to be safe, you could probably double that. 2 to 3 years on your average can of vegetables. Different food is going to be different, so these are just guidelines. But like I said, this says best by a year. Probably going to be safe for 2 to 3 years. Could be safe for 10 years. Who knows, You won't know until you open it. Let's take a look at, here's another vegetable, some sweet potatoes and syrup. Best by on this is 2014, which is about 2 years from now. And I've had that can for probably a year. So it's probably about a 3-year best by on that one. So double that. That might be good until 2017. So a little bit longer on the sweet potatoes. Don't know why, but they are. Let's take a look at fruits. Nice pineapples. I love pineapples. Eat them all the time. Best by on this is 2014. So it's got 2 more years left on it. I just bought this one. So 2 more years, probably safe for 4 or 5 years. Good investment. If you buy a case of the pineapple, you're going to eat it within 4 or 5 years. As you get low, buy another one. As you eat it, buy another one. Kind of rotate your stocks. That way, you're eating the oldest, storing the newest. And I eat pineapple. I probably eat a can or two of that pineapple a month. So if I buy a case of it at like Sam's Club, that case goes, over the course of a year it's gone, and I rotate out the new stuff. So I never have to worry about the cans getting too old, because it's one of my regular things I eat. Beans. These ones here are good by 2014. These are chickpeas. So 2 years. I probably had this can 6 months, maybe a year. So 2 to 3 years on the Best Buy. Double that. This might be a good 5-year can. Could be a 10-year can. Who knows? Who knows how long they'll be safe? These things could be safe for as long as the integrity of the can holds up. Who knows? But good rule of thumb, maybe 3 to 5 years on something like this. Now let's get into the meats, which I find kind of interesting. This is just normal like chicken breast in a can. The Best Buy date on this is 2015, which is 3 years from now. Kind of odd. The meat, stays a little bit longer. I'm guessing because it's cooked and sterilized. So effectively double that. Maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years out of this, which is quite a long bit of storage for, a can. Now the winner, I cannot explain why. Anyone knows, I'd love to hear it. Pink salmon. Any of the salmons or the fishes tend to have really long expiration dates. 2017, that's 5 years from now. That's just the Best Buy. This would probably be safe for literally a decade. Very good investment for long-term food storage. Now, mind you guys, consider how long you're storing food for. If you're making a 6-month store, having a 10-year shelf life is good enough, because if shit hits the fan in 5 years, that's still going to be good for another 5 years or so. Likewise, I lost my train of thought. Wow, I derailed on this one, guys. If you want to make good investments on your money, now a can like this, I don't eat canned salmon. Kind of gross, if you ask me. What I would, this is essentially only for prepping. And you know what? When it comes 5 years or so and this gets older, I would probably donate something like this to a food pantry, to be honest, because I wouldn't eat it unless, I was pretty hungry. So a lot of these things as they get older, some of them I will donate, some, I rotate. But these are a great investment just over the amount of time you have. So right now, if you look at my earliest efforts, if I bought this can back in like 2001 when I started prepping, it would probably just be becoming unsafe now. So you're looking at a turnover on something like this. You turn this over every 5 years or so. It's not a horrible storage investment. It could be worse. If you're buying regular food, you're only gonna store for a year, 2 years, whatever. 5 years, pretty good investment. The 1 year stuff, anything that's 1 year, make sure it's something you're gonna eat and rotate. 5 year stuff, you got a little leeway with that. The 2 and 3 year stuff, use your judgment depending on how much money you have. If money's tight, keep your stores to the stuff that lasts a long time. If you have the extra money, you can diversify a little bit. But I definitely feel adding cans to your storage is a good idea. It helps you diversify. It lets you have fruit and vegetables and variety in your food. But like I said, you just got to be careful. Make sure you rotate. Make sure you're only eating safe cans. And like I said, worst case scenario, you take some of the food and donate it to a food pantry, and it goes to needy families. So hope you enjoyed, and take a look at your food stores and what you're doing and how you're doing it, because there's more to it than just rice and beans, guys.